Hello everyone and welcome to another Transformers review. Today we are going to be taking a look at TransCraft TC01 Mohican, and this is their take on Mohawk from Transformers The Last Night. Alright, before we get into the figure itself, and this guy is dinky, let's have a quick look at what he comes with. I can't even see them. Alright, so he comes with this little set of knives, which are quite nice. They're just for on the one piece. As you can see there, they're all moulded as one set. They're really tiny, really tiny. And then he comes with this very small dagger. Again, it's really tiny. And what you're supposed to do with these in this mode is, as you can see here, just here, you put this tab into this part here. This becomes his hand in robot mode, so you just slide that in to there, like so, and then you do the same with the daggers on the other side. So again, this has a small tab just about there, and this goes in this side, which is really difficult to show on camera because it's so tiny. These are less than a centimetre long, so there we go. So you can ride around with those murder weapons sticking out. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to display him like that. Now, ordinarily I would show a figure in its robot mode in the box at this stage, but I didn't get any retail packaging with this because I bought him from China, and I find generally if I get things from China in the boxes, the boxes arrive really damaged and I have to throw them away anyway, so I usually just get them in bubble wrap. So that's why he's like this. Right, so let's have a look, see how big, or I should say how small he is. And he is roughly 12 centimetres long and easily knocked over. And what's that? About 5 centimetres high at the handlebars. And he does come with a kickstand, which is really nice to keep him upright. The amount of motorcycle models I have that don't have a kickstand drives me insane. Excuse me. I'm a biker myself, or at least I used to be. I've still got my bike, but it needs some repair. So it's nice to get motorcycle figures, especially Transformers ones, because they're very few and far between. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Had to pause for a second there. Yes. When you do find one, you tend to grab them. Well, I mean, I do anyway. It's nice to have little representations of your chosen mode of travel. So, let's have a closer look. He's really nicely done. I have to admit, when he turned up and I got him out of the packaging, I went, that is tiny. I've paid so much and he's so small. But as they say, small things come in... No, that's not right. Good things come in small packages, but small things do come in good packages sometimes as well. So let's get in closer here. He's done in this really nice silver paint. It does have a really shiny finish to it. It does look really good. The paint apps, I have to say, are pretty good. And you can even see on the brake pads here, they put some green on. And there's a darker shade of green on the rim there. I mean, it looks like a motorcycle. and it's not like all hidden away, you know, like the what do they call them, RC and Chromia and Elita 1 in that pack. It's you know, they all fold away, don't they, whereas this one's more, you know, if you can see it, it does become his robot mode. So it is really nicely done. You can just see his hands sticking out the back there, and his mohawk here. But it's still excuse me. It still looks like a motorcycle. It still looks really good. So yeah, I mean, they've even for those of you not into motorcycles, this is what we call a V-twin. See better on this side here. This is what my bike has, V-twin engine. So yeah, really nice to see that sculpted in there. And this is the underside. And this bit all becomes his chest here, so you get to see these green details a bit more in robot mode, and we'll get to that shortly. And this is the front. Nice silver paint here on the light. Not really much moulding on the handlebars. You know, I mean, there's only so much you can get in one of these. You know, a figure this small. So, and there is down the back. And I've lost the other weapons now, they've just popped off. So yeah, overall, I really like this motorcycle mode. Now, I will just zoom out a bit, and I will put him next to, this is the AOI Mech, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but you know, this is the AOI Mech Jazz figure, and that's a 1:1 scale with the original MPM Jazz. So as you can see, I mean, I think that's not a bad scale. I mean, bikes and car transformers never really scale well together anyway, not in their alt modes anyway, but that's actually not too bad, because that's, you know, that's a small American sports car. I know it's a Pontiac, and that's all I know. I don't do American cars. British ones, European ones, but not American ones. And yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. So that. And here he is with Siege Soundwave, because I always have to try and get Siege Soundwave in. So get a general idea of the size there. He's not going to be able to ride him. I mean, maybe he's one of those, you know, those mini bikes. I don't know if you've seen them in America. I don't know if they have them over there, but over here they have these tiny little mini bike things that kids sometimes have. You can maybe. If I fits, I sits. So, yeah, there we go. Ah, it's just me being daft. But you gotta have a laugh, haven't you? You gotta have a laugh. Right, so there he is in his bike mode. I will pause for a moment, get him transformed up, and we'll have a look at his robot mode. Be right back. Okay, so here we are with him back in his robot mode, and this is about the point where I just fell in love with him when I got him transformed into his robot mode. I think he looks awesome. I should say I'm not a huge fan of the movies, I mean any of them except for Bumblebee, but there are certain characters that I find interesting in them, and he's one of them. I just think he's really fun. He looks like he'd go out, you know, on a night out and not be afraid to nut someone, you know. He doesn't look like he's scared of anything. He's just wonderful. I just really love him. Right, so before we run down the articulation, let's have another look at these weapons here. Now I do have a couple of issues with him. And issue number 1 is, what were they thinking here? His hand only bends outwards. It doesn't go inwards. It's static that way, but you can do that. So he can go, no, no, but he can't really, no, can't do anything else. And that's a shame. And it also makes holding his weapons a bit weird. So we slot them back in. Oh, and again, they are so small. Even for my little hands, they're small. Go in there, and yeah, he's just basically floating those knives. He's not gripping them at all, and that's a shame, because it just doesn't look right. It just looks daft. Okay, he's got that one. It just doesn't look, no, and it looks even more weird if you do that. Yeah, that's an issue for me. I don't like that, and you can't. There's nothing really you can do. You can't really hide it, because even if you try and hide it that way, it's, you know, you can still see that he's not holding it. I've just noticed there is actually a tab hole there. That's for transformation, but I wonder if that will fit in there. No, that wasn't in the instructions. Not that the instructions were much use, to be honest. I had to go by the pictures on AliExpress from the seller that I got this from, because the instructions are practically useless. So that actually looks okay. That looks quite cool. Let's see if it works with the other knives. Not so much, but you know, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's better, I think. I think that's definitely the way I would be more inclined to have him holding them. Right, so let's have a close look at his articulation. So his head is on a ball joint. You can have him look in all kinds of places. It's great. Doesn't go back too far. There's this piece here which sort of prevents him looking up, but it does enable him to open his lower jaw, which is fantastic. I like that. I love his head sculpt. I really do. I have a toy, and I looked it up recently, and I've forgotten what the actual name of it is, but I always called it Fish Face, and my mum took one look at this and went, "Oh, it's Fish Face," and now I can't stop seeing that toy when I look at him, because he looks quite a bit like my Fish Face toy. If I find that, I'll do a comparison photograph, but I'm not entirely sure what I've done with it. And the poor thing, it's coming loose at the neck. Not this, my Fish Face, it's all sort of ripped at the neck, so I need to do some emergency surgery on him anyway. So yes, so he's got all that articulation in his head and this lovely moving jaw. He's ball jointed almost everywhere, so he's got a lot of articulation. You can move the arms in and out, they rotate. You can double up that, so you can get him into some quite interesting poses. You can get his arms in all kinds of places. This wheel is on a swivel, so you can move it out of the way, and it's on another swivel joint here, so you can get that all out of the way if needs be. Again, he's got a ball joint here. I'm going to take that off because that's going to fall off anyway. He's got another swivel here. It does mean you can do that with his elbow. I'm not sure if that's any good to anyone, but you can do it. And these really silly wrists. You can't even pop them off, because I was going to try and pop them off and swap them over, but then you can't plug it into the the vehicle mode, so that doesn't work either. He does have a waist swivel, so you can get him moving there, and you can bend him over, but that is the transformation joint. But it, you know, it works. His legs are on swivels and a ball joint, and then he's got pinned knees, so you can move that in and out like that. There's no real, I mean, you could use that, get him to kick upwards and over to the side, or maybe you want to cross his legs for some reason. And then there's that secondary knee, because he's chicken legged, and then you can move up and down on the toes, and this is also on a ball joint. So you get a fair amount of articulation with him. You know, he's pretty poseable considering he's itty bitty. And speaking of size, let's get him situated again. Let's have a look. He is, yeah, he's about as tall as he was long. So he's about 12 centimetres tall, and he's about 9 at the shoulders with those wheels on. I should point out that this wheel you do have to remove. You have to take it off the front forks, because this is how this is situated, and if you leave it on, it's going to keep banging him in the back of the head, and this is screen accurate anyway. I did find it slightly fiddly to get back on for alt mode, but it does go. My only issue, other than the hands being essentially backwards, my only issue with this figure is his chest. You can't, there's no way, it doesn't peg in, so it's sort of just floating there. So if you like knock it, it will just pop off, it will pop apart. It's not terrible, it's fairly stiff, you know. It's just that if you're mucking about with him, there's every chance you'll knock this out, so just, you know, be wary of that. It's not a hole, it's not a you know, a big issue. It's just one of those things, you know. Like I say, it's not a major problem, just something to be wary of. And I just realised, I think I had those, yeah, I've got those inside out, that should be that way around. So that's not going to work there. Oh. Yeah, maybe it's supposed to go that way. Maybe that's why it's got flat hands. Maybe you're supposed to put that in there that way around. No, it won't go because the ball joint pushes it out. Oh, that's a shame. I'll try and figure something out for that, maybe for the pictures. So, but there he is. He's really cool. I really like him. Let's get in close again on his little face. There goes some lovely. I love the green that they used on this. It's really nice. And here's that bit I was saying in alt mode that you saw, that you would see it closer in robot mode. He doesn't really have anything more on him in robot mode than he did in alt mode, but you know, he's a tiny wee figure. You're not really gonna get too much there. I thought this was quite fun. I don't know if it looks like it to anybody else, but to me they look like little forks. Yeah, he's got literally knives and forks. I find silly things in all kinds of things. So there you go. That's a little look at Mohawk, aka TransCraft Mohican. He's not cheap. I paid, I think it worked out somewhere around £27–28 for him. So he's not cheap, but he's quality. All his joints are really nice and stiff. The paintwork is spot on all the way around. There's no paint slop on mine. Mine looks gorgeous. I think I would have preferred these hands doing properly. I don't like what they've done there. But other than that, given that he's supposed to scale with, I'm not sure if he's supposed to scale with the Rensora figure. I think he might be. I don't have that one to hand, so I can't bring it in. But I think he's meant to scale with that one. And I think he does that pretty well. I mean, let's bring in Siege Soundwave again. So that's how he looks with Siege Soundwave. So yeah, he's a really nice little figure. He's so much fun to mess with as well. You know, sometimes you get these third-party figures and the transformation is a nightmare. But once you've figured out how to do this, and don't rely on the instructions because they're next to useless, once you've figured out how to do this, you'll be messing with him all day, just putting him back and forth, because that's what I was doing. He's just so much fun. He really is. This is I would definitely recommend, if you're looking to get any more Last Night figures, this has got to be on your list. He's just so much fun. So yeah, so that's that. Thanks for watching this. I appreciate you joining me for these reviews, and until the next one, thanks very much and goodbye.
Fingers on plastic.